Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Handlebar ASMR. I am an avid reader, and one of the ideas I've had for a new video series was really kind of just going through some of what I'm reading right now. And the books that I'm reading right now, actually I just finished the third and the first arc of this is a book series called Mistborn. So I'm gonna give you a heads up on Mistborn on this episode. This is from the Amazon description from the #1 New York Times best-selling author Brandon Sanderson. The Mistborn series is a heist story of political intrigue and magical martial arts action. For 1,000 years, the ashes fell and no flowers have bloomed. For 1,000 years, the Ska slaved in misery and lived in fear. For 1,000 years, the Lord Ruler, the sliver of infinity, reigned with absolute power and ultimate terror, divinely invincible. Then, when hope was lost, that not even its memory remained, a terribly scarred, heartbroken half-Ska rediscovered it in the depths of the Lord Ruler's most hellish prison. Kelsier snapped and found himself with the powers of a Mistborn, a brilliant thief, and a natural leader. He has turned his talents to the ultimate caper, with the Lord Ruler himself as the mark. Kelsier recruited the underworld's elite, the smartest and most trustworthy Allomancers, each of whom shares one of his many powers, and all of whom relish in the high-stakes challenge. Only then does he reveal his ultimate dream, not just the greatest heist in history, but the downfall of the divine despot. But even with the best criminal crew ever assembled, Kel's plan looks more like the ultimate long shot until luck brings a ragged girl named Vin into his life. Like him, she's a half-Ska orphan, but she has lived a much harsher life. Vin has learned to expect betrayal from everyone she meets, and gotten it. She will have to learn to trust if Kel is to help her master powers in which she's never dreamed. This saga dares to ask the simple question, what if the hero of prophecy fails? The series primarily takes place in a region called the Final Empire, where the sun and sky are red, vegetation is brown, and the ground is constantly being covered under black volcanic ash falls. Every night the land becomes covered in an unnatural fog or mist. This is because 1,000 years before the story begins, the ruler of the Final Empire, the Lord Ruler, gained access to a divine power from what is called the Well of Ascension, where he is rumored to have defeated the unknown danger called the Deepness. But his powers seem to corrupt the world from that point on. The Lord Ruler becomes immortal from his power and has built a kingdom built on the labor of slaves, the Ska, who are terribly mistreated, and a noble class that are the descendants of the people who helped the Lord Ruler build his empire when he came to power. Kelsier, once a slave and a thief, has devised a plan to steal all of the Lord Ruler's ATM stockpile, the source of all his wealth, and overthrow the Lord Ruler and install a government run by the slaves, thus freeing them. Kelsier recruits a street urchin named Vin, who has powers that she doesn't yet understand, and she joins with the group of thieves that Kelsier has handpicked to try to pull off this long shot plan. Although this is a typical high fantasy, the first book reads more like a heist book than your typical high fantasy book, and I mean that in a really good way. Kelsier and Vin, of course, are the main two heroes in the beginning of the series, but they are surrounded by an expanding cast What really sets this book apart, though, is the elaborate form of magic that some of the characters possess. Allomancy is predominantly a genetic ability that allows a person to metabolize or burn metals ingested by the allomancer. For magical powers that can enhance physical and mental capabilities, there are 16 metals that such allomancers can use, with each metal granting a specific ability. A person who is only able to burn one of the allomantic metals is known as a misting. Anyone who is naturally capable of burning all the metals is called a Mistborn, and they are extremely rare. Most of the metals are real-world metals, such as steel, iron, copper, brass, etc. Each metal, when burned, grants either an internal or external effect. Steel pushes on nearby metals, iron pulls on nearby metals, and in the story this kind of like lets the characters be almost Spider-Man-like in moving around, jumping, pulling, and pushing off of stuff to get these high leaps and get around. Pewter increases physical abilities, makes them stronger, and makes their bones harder to allow for these huge jumps and stuff like that, and gives them like kind of like almost like super enhanced speed and strength. Tin increases physical senses so that they can see like farther or hear better. Zinc inflames emotions. Brass dampens emotions. Copper hides allomantic pulses. Bronze detects allomantic pulses. And the rest of the metals I'm not really going to go into because you'll discover them as the main characters discover them and find out what they do, and they're kind of important to the storyline. It may sound like I'm actually giving like spoilers, but really most of this stuff is covered very quickly in the first part of the book. And it sounds really intricate, and the way these metals work and everything like that, but inside the story it makes sense, and it's a fun twist on your typical magical abilities. I won't go into the books much deeper than that. I will say I finished the first book and immediately started the second book. I really enjoyed the first book, and the second book was good, but it lost a bit of steam that the first book had, mainly because it lost the bank heist vibe that the first book had that really set it apart. After the first book, it becomes more of your typical high fantasy book and everything like that, but still very good, very interesting. Towards the end of the second book, there's some choices that the characters make that you're just kind of roll your eyes at and everything, but you can tell that the author's wanting to have these characters in the next book, or they're setting them up into circumstances that's gonna make things work in the third book. The third book was very good, probably better than the second one, which is more about like trying to be more about like political intrigue and stuff like that. And the third book is like the culmination of everything. But again, I really do think the first book and that bank heist top atmosphere was really what set it apart, along with the really intricate magic abilities and everything like that. Really good books. I recommend these books. I was highly entertained by them. I finished all three in probably less than a month. So that says a lot about them. And I was entertained. That's what you want from a book like this. So if you're interested in the Mistborn series, the order of the books is Mistborn, The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. And that's book 1 through 3 of the original trilogy. And I've not started the next series yet, which is Mistborn, The Alloy of Law, The Shadows of Self, and The Bands of Mourning. These these are the 3 books of the Wax and Wane series, and I'll probably start them here soon. So, but I'm probably going to take a small break, read something new. It kind of is almost like when you watch too many of the same television series in a row or something like that. You can kind of start to not appreciate it as much as if you let a little time go by, really take in what you've read, think about it, and then start fresh. So I'll probably start a new book series here soon, and if you have some good, I'm really into fantasy, I'm really into horror, I'm a nerd at the core, so if you've got any really good fantasy series to go into, leave them in the comments and I'll probably give them a try. And I appreciate anyone who does that. So, with that, this episode is complete. Give Mistborn a try. Brandon Sanderson is a very good author and he writes books really fast. Some of you may know that he was the one who finished up for Jordan the Wheel of Time series, and it's well earned. So, join me for another episode of Handlebar ASMR soon, and until then, thanks again for watching.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.